Almost 2 decades after Congress passed the REAL ID Act, it will actually be enforced. Legally speaking, this means pretty soon people won't be able to use a standard state driver's license to get through airport security to board a flight. It's been pushed back for years, but now the enforcement date is set for May 7th, 2025. Starting then, if you want to use your state-issued driver's license or ID card for certain federal purposes, like boarding a commercial plane, you'll need a REAL ID compliant version that requires extra paperwork. For both the REAL ID and standard ID in Ohio, you have to show full name, date of birth, legal presence in the U.S., social security number, address, and proof of name change if that applies to you. But to get a REAL ID, the one that works at the airport, you'll need to provide 2 approved documents that show your address rather than just 1. And the approved documents you can use to meet each requirement are slightly different too. Now, if you have another acceptable form of ID, like a passport for example, none of this matters to you because you can use that to get through airport security. But let's say you don't, and you have a flight coming up on or after May 7th, and you don't have a REAL ID yet either. You're taking a gamble as to whether you'll be able to get on that plane. A press release from the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, says passengers who present state-issued identification that is not REAL ID compliant and who do not have another acceptable alternative can expect to face delays, additional screening, and the possibility of not being permitted into the security checkpoint. When I asked a TSA spokesperson for Ohio's region what would make the difference between being subject to additional screening versus not being permitted to fly, I was told, "We do not comment on the specifics because it represents sensitive security information." The spokesperson also said, passengers who do not present a REAL ID or another acceptable form of ID after May 7th may face the possibility of not being permitted into the security checkpoint if their identity cannot be verified at the checkpoint. By the way, a few states issue something called an enhanced driver's license, which is also considered a compliant ID for purposes of the REAL ID Act. But the transportation budget signed into law in March removed the Ohio BMV's authority to create an enhanced driver's license. This is Stephanie Haney, Legally Speaking, for 3 News.